Hello everyone, welcome to Manage Engine Online Seminar 2020. We are going to wait for a few more minutes for others to join, and then we can start with the session. I guess we can start now. Hello again to everyone. Welcome to Manage Engine Online Seminar 2020. I would like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules and joining us today. As we all know, the fight against COVID-19, also known as coronavirus, is still on, and new cases are surfacing every day and adding to the numbers. Thanks to all the awe-inspiring support and assistance that we have received from our modern day superheroes, the doctors and nurses and healthcare workers, and several other organizations who have risked their lives for our survival. Hopefully, with our collective efforts to contain this virus, we would witness the end to this pandemic situation soon. Back to the presentation. I hope my screen is visible to all and I'm audible to everyone. Uh, okay. So can I get a confirmation from all the participants? I've raised. I've seen a few hands being raised. Uh, so, gentlemen, could you please let me know if you're all able to view my screen and hear me loud and clear? Okay. So I believe I have got a few responses. It seems we can continue with the session then. Let's proceed ahead. My name is Suryadeep Banik. I have been with Manage Engine IT Operations Management for more than 2 years now, and the journey so far has been absolutely delightful. Working here as a part of Zoho Corporation family, I will be your host for the first half of this seminar, followed by the second half, which will be taken care of by my colleague Vijay. And we will have a 10 minutes break in between as well. So I hope this session proves to be useful and informative to all. About Manage Engine is a division of Zoho Corporation. As the IT management division of Zoho Corporation, Manage Engine crafts comprehensive IT management softwares with focus on making IT administration jobs easier. We have 90 plus products and free tools that cover everything your IT needs at an affordable price. And we are successfully catering over 180,000 organizations across 190 countries with our IT monitoring and management solutions. We provide solutions for Active Directory management and audit. We have help desk tools, help desk solutions, which makes the job easy for your client or customer support engineers. Comprehensive mobile device management softwares and desktop management softwares empowers your workforce with the power of mobility without compromising on your corporate security. Our proactive network, server, and application monitoring solutions helps in monitoring the entire infrastructure with ease. Great. You can get alerts real time, remove operational bottlenecks, optimize performance, and gain the maximum output from your IT infrastructure. We have solutions for security information, event management, and user entity behavior analytics. These softwares help to gain real-time visibility into your network activity, mitigate potential threats, and resolve issues faster. Manage Engine provides complete and easy solutions for even most difficult IT management problems, focused on keeping your business safe, ensuring high availability, and making your users happy. Let me also mention we are trying to make this session interactive. We have our panelists available who would love to help you with your queries and questions. So please feel free to put your questions across in the chat panel anytime during the session, and we will be glad to assist you. So today's agenda is we would be looking into the current trend in the IT sector. As you know, many organizations are now dependent on a dual workforce type where some employees are working from office and some from home. So we are going to address the challenges we come across due to this dual work environments and look into the ideal solutions. We're also going to have a question answer session as a part of the discussion where our product experts would answer your queries. So there is no new normal, but two normals now. Well, I remember the pre-COVID days. I won't say it was very peaceful, but we were habituated with a 9 to 5 job, overcoming all obstacles and reaching office on time, do our daily work, take on challenges, and fight our way to the end of the shift and get ready for the next day. And that was quite normal to everyone. Those days, very few organizations, say about 3.4% business, would let their employees work from home. And then came the pandemic, and life was not the same anymore. Cities got locked down. Now, 88% organizations took work from home as the only option to keep the business running. At present, it is not clear when the world is going to get rid of this virus, but we are still trying to return to the regular life as we knew it. So we are now actually trying to coexist with Corona. Business organizations are opening up their offices with limited number of employees, and we have about 40% businesses who allows work from home, and the rest will want their employees to report at office. So what we got now as the outcome are more issues. Offices are trying hard to cope up with the new challenges and modify their network in order to support their employees working from home. In this process, security and performance issues are at peak, with some of them yet to be addressed, not under control. And this is hampering the production for both remote and on-site operations, right? So the question of the day is how to manage the workforce which are not present under one single roof, maintain the security, and get optimum performance at the same time. So the plan is to identify the common challenges and figure out the way to deal with them. Here we have listed few of the issues faced by people working from home and offices that demands immediate attention, like bandwidth choking, virtual communication problems where we are using VoIPs and VPNs. We also face issues related to configuration compliance and complications related to that. System updates, physical machine rebooting, these kind of issues have also been seen while working from home. So these are the few things that we are going to discuss on in today's session. Now I'm going to talk about 6 major problems and how we can overcome these challenges. Number one, dealing with network bandwidth and traffic requirements. So ever since the pandemic situation emerged and people started to work from home, about 70% growth has been observed in the internet usage. Reason: servers and applications which were hosted on LAN before are now being accessed over the internet or VPN. And as a result, organizations without traffic management plan would be failing to keep track on the bandwidth utilization, which then cause network slowness, traffic bottlenecks, and impacts the quality of experience for both employees and external users. Disproportionate bandwidth usage by employees can cause stagnant traffic, network outages, and bandwidth hogs. So let's take a simple example of an organization with 200 to 250 employees who were working from the same location, but now they are scattered all over the city or maybe the country, and they are working from home. Everybody demanding an access to the internal servers and applications that they used to, that they are going to use for their daily work. So the challenge is how we can ensure availability of bandwidth and smoothing of traffic for each and every employee who are trying to access this network. So in order to make things easy, in order to smoothen the traffic and avoid any kind of bandwidth bottlenecks, the mantra is to identify who is doing what in your network and at which point of time. So we are going to find out the specific applications, users, ports, and the top talkers in your network, which will help us to identify the top traffic generators based on hosts, destinations, applications, ports, protocol, etc. Next, we have the option to prioritize traffic. So for example, in one network, there are multiple people who are using business critical applications, and there will be some who will be using other network, other social sites, maybe for entertainment. Now, I'm not saying that entertainment is absolutely not necessary, but sometimes when you are running a business, then you'll have to give importance to your business critical applications than entertainment. So step two will be to prioritize the traffic by deploying policies, quality of services, configurations, so that you can block the bandwidth consumption by certain apps and make the use of the same for your business critical applications and servers where you need more bandwidth. So this is very important to identify where exactly the bandwidth should be employed. Next, plan the bandwidth needs. So we need to analyze the traffic trends over a particular time and make future decisions based on the organization's capacity needs. For example, if you say that your organization is using 100 Mbps bandwidth, but from that, you are seeing that 80% is being used for your business critical applications and 20% is being used for entertainments and social networking. Then you come across a time where you need more bandwidth. Your business is expanding and you need more bandwidth. So what you will do? Will you go for higher bandwidth plan, which will cost you more money? Or you will try to block that 20% usage of bandwidth that is being used by your social network or entertainment purpose. So better plan is to block those unwanted traffic and use the same for your business critical applications and servers without going instead of going for a higher plan. So to conclude with bandwidth requirements, a network monitoring solution or a bandwidth analyzer is what is required in organizations nowadays, where you will be able to prioritize the traffic, block the unwanted traffic, and use the same for your need. And for future capacity planning also, these bandwidth analysis softwares will be useful so that you can deploy the bandwidth as per your need. Next challenge is the virtual communication problems. Now, when we are working from home, we have always come across situations where we have always uh, using VoIP lines, video calls. So now 78% of corporate companies use video calling softwares and 45% of teams using video calling tools daily or weekly. 86% of companies conduct employee interviews over video call. So nowadays, when the work from home culture is on the rise, people are, and not only people, most of the big organizations or small businesses are opting for these kind of virtual communication to conduct their recruitment or to conduct their employees training, etc. So during video calls and during these kind of online sessions, online meetings like what we are doing right now, as you can see, I mean, this seminar would have been arranged at a particular location at a particular site, but due to this pandemic situation, we are doing it online, and hence our virtual communication is very important. Now, how will you feel when there is a choppy sound, or if you are hearing any echoes on a VoIP call, or you start saying, "Are you there? Are you able to hear me? Am I audible?" This is quite frustrating. So let me execute a poll here. We are going to have a poll here. Let me see how many have you experienced this kind of problems. So I would request all the participants to give a poll. Let's see, have you said these sentences anywhere during a call or a video call? We will wait for some time. Okay, great. So it seems like most of us has faced these challenges, these issues. So how we can overcome these challenges? First of all, if you talk about monitoring VoIP, voice over IP, to maintain the quality, we need to monitor the jitters, latency, and packet loss. If we have these things, definitely we will come across these statements often. Are you able to hear me? Am I audible? But if we find a way to terminate these things, jitter, latency, packet loss, or get alerts whenever these situation arises, when we have jitters, when we have latency or packet loss, that will be the best way to overcome these situations and fix the issues. So we can go ahead and set up thresholds and get alerts when the threshold is breached. For example, if the packet loss is too high, we get an alert, we come to know that, okay, there will be some problem with this VoIP call. So we will try to fix that up. So simple ways to fix jitter. We can use Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi wherever it is possible. Using Ethernet, jitters will be less. Packets will reach their destination correctly, properly, and on time with minimum response delay. Reducing packet conflicts on Wi-Fi by reducing number of devices operating on the same channel. And avoid large data file transfer going over the same Wi-Fi environment. So if we are using a Wi-Fi connection, we can definitely restrict or avoid transferring huge files or streaming videos so that the same is used for our VoIP calls with less jitters and packet loss. So simple ways to prevent packet loss or fix them: make sure that cables and ports are plugged in properly. Half duplex links were used before, which are now being replaced by full duplex links and cables nowadays. So that will also eliminate the packet loss related issues. Updating the softwares regularly that we are using for VoIP calls or video calls, that will also help us a lot. Tracking the CPU utilization of the VoIP related routers and firewalls and make sure that they are all free and performing according to the expectation. And implementation of quality of service, which will prioritize the traffic movement on the VoIP link and make sure that we do not have any kind of packet loss for certain traffic, class-based traffic. Now, in our present situation, we have the requirement to monitor two different types of VoIP usage, and employee working at their office might be using a handset connected with VoIP, and one sitting at home working from home will be using a software connected to maybe a VPN. So we need to emphasize the need of monitoring of two different VoIP usage now. So we need an ideal tool which must ensure all sorts of devices are monitored properly. So before going to the next challenge, to have a proper virtual communication VoIP links, we will need some tool, some software to monitor these links, to monitor jitters, packet loss, and round trip times. When that is in place, very minimum challenge or issues we will face. And even if there is any issue, we will be able to fix it on time before it has a mass impact. Next challenge is the configuration complications, configuration of your network devices, security policies, firewall rules, etc. So configuration modifications are supposed to make it easy for remote workers, but still we have challenges. We face issues whenever there are any modifications, and that impacts the entire production, that impacts the entire operations if not monitored properly. Here is a prediction by Gartner. About 80% of outages impacting mission critical services would be caused by people or process issues. So it is not something that is happening automatically. People are making changes. People are doing some kind of change in the configuration of the devices which are impacting the critical services and thus impacting the user experience. So more than 50% of those outages would be caused by change and configuration issues. So what will happen if we fail to keep a track on the configurations? If the configurations are not visible, if they are not monitored, we will face network outages. We may have to deal with data stealing, data theft, and unauthorized configuration access, malicious configuration changes. So these are all the challenges that we may face when we are not monitoring the configurations, basically for the major or mission critical network devices. So how we can manage the configuration changes? We can maintain a record of all configuration changes made, when they are made, and who made them. This will allow us to pinpoint whenever there is any kind of issue occurring and causing a network failure. So if we get alerts whenever there is any kind of configuration changes happening, and the alerts let us know where the configuration change has taken place, it would be pretty easy for any network administrator to overcome the situation and get the network back online. So remote work has increased configuration changes. When people are working, when administrators are working from home, they will do the changes and nobody will be able to know from where the change was made if we do not have a proper tracking system for the same. Second step is to deploy role-based access control. We cannot give access to our network devices or business critical devices to everyone and then regret later whenever there is any kind of unauthorized changes taking place. So we can restrict users who can access the network devices and make any kind of configurational changes, and only to certain devices they will be able to get access and do any changes. This kind of settings will definitely help us in reducing unauthorized changes or users accessing to crucial configurations. The third step is to have backups ready. In every organization, this is most important, to have a baseline configuration or have an option to roll back to a previous configuration whenever there is any kind of changes detected. So if we do a regular network configuration backup for all the devices, stored them stay safely or in encrypted format. So in case if there is any kind of sudden network outages due to any kind of changes which has taken place, authorized or unauthorized, we can straight away and quickly upload the backup version and get the network up and going. So this will definitely reduce the downtime by immediately uploading a backup file. So like I mentioned before, rolling back to previous configuration for critical devices, make sure that no new configuration changes made that would cause your network to misbehave. So it will roll back to a previous configuration, and this will be applicable majorly for your core routers, firewalls, and other critical devices. The fourth challenge that we are going to discuss about is compliance issues. So whether employees are working remotely or from office, it is crucial to ensure network compliance with industry standards, and internal policies, because a dual working setup has opened the door to more cyber crimes. When people are working from home, networks are easily accessible, and due to the same reason, we have seen a rise in the cyber crimes as well. So how we can avoid such situations, how we can avoid data theft or any other cyber crimes that can be possible nowadays. First of all, let us look into what can cause this kind of issues, this kind of situations. Non-adherence to compliance standards. So this will cause credit card data theft, internal accounting errors, patient information disclosure for medical institutions, internal policy jeopardized, and how we can rectify, how we can prevent such situations. Placing a PCI compliance. There are companies who have suffered huge fines due to this kind of compliance issues where the uh, transmission, the transactions were not encrypted up to the mark. Default credentials provided by device vendors are not retained. That is what we need to ensure in order to avoid such situations. We need to encrypt the transmission of cardholder data access across open and public networks. Next is the SOX policy. This is very important nowadays because a company can be fined and can have to serve in jail as well in case they are failing to comply with SOX policy. So we need to ensure devices are password protected, a record of network changes is maintained, and sensitive data is backed up. That is how we can comply with the SOX policy. Next is HIPAA compliance. This also can attract fines if violated. So if we encrypt all the passwords, automatically logging users off after a certain period of inactivity, we can comply to HIPAA compliance and also restrict or avoid any kind of other cyber crimes. And lastly, we should not forget to comply with our internal company standards. So when we have a solution or a software which is able to tally with these global standards, be it SOX, PCI, HIPAA compliance, it is quite easy to maintain security as well as avoid any kind of threats that we are facing nowadays. The next challenge we are going to discuss is the physical machine rebooting. So when employees are working remotely, working from home, they may not be able to reboot their systems or might experience difficulties when device does not reboot. How we can overcome this kind of situations? We can place a wake on LAN software which will be transmitting magic packets to the target device. So using these, we can easily communicate with the computers that are powered off or in low power mode and help the employees to have a better working experience while working from home. But when we are deploying any kind of wake on LAN softwares, there are few things that we need to keep in mind. Appropriate BIOS and network cards must be used. OS and router must exhibit full-fledged functionality. So when an ideal WOL wake on LAN tool is not used, wake on LAN magic packets can be manipulated by any attacker. or rogue device in the same network, which will again increase the cyber criminal activities, and the companies and organizations will have to pay the toll for the same. Next challenge, we are going to discuss about VPN performance and security issues. So certain information and services are accessible only when the system is connected internally to the internal LAN within the company premises, and accessing them remotely requires a VPN connection, which also needs to be secured. So security related concerns are there when we are using VPN communication, VPN applications from our system. So about 300% VPN usage growth in 2020. And again, the reason is the recent pandemic situation, the recent outbreak of COVID-19. So all employees who are working from home, if they have to access some business critical applications or servers, which they could only do from their office premises, for that they will need to connect to a particular VPN using some particular VPN application provided by the office. And only then those VPN will allow the employees to access those business critical applications or servers. It has been seen with 7 VPN services leak data of over 20 million users. This has happened with big organizations, namely in 2018, British Telecom was one of them. So where data was breached, data was leaked for more than 3 lakh users, and they had to pay a huge fine, huge toll for the same. Just because security was not there, two-step authentication, and different other practical parameters were not in place, which allowed these kind of security breaches. So 93% of IT professionals are experiencing challenges with the data privacy. So let us go ahead and have another polling. Let's see how many of us has faced these challenges and how many of us has uh, forgotten to turn off VPNs, or uh, they have been able to not been able to log in. So I have posted a question here. I would request everyone to uh, place a poll. So I have already received about 50% of votes. Thank you, everyone. So let's see. Confidential data leak, loss of productivity, and slowness in file sharing, lags in video conferencing, disruption of business critical services. These are the common issues that we face or that are being caused by mismanaged VPN. And in turn, it damages the brand or the customer service reputation. So how we can overcome these challenge? We can place a strong encryption. The network admin must ensure that the data encryption within VPN tunnels is mandated. So encryption augments security, minimizes the chances of data theft. Monitoring the VPN bandwidth. It is very important to know users who are connected to the VPN, how much bandwidth they are using, for what purpose they are using, for how long they have been connected, if it is active or dormant. If a user is connected more than expected, that means if the user has forgotten to turn off the VPN after the office hours or after the required usage. So we can view the destinations and URLs your VPN clients visit. If we have a proper VPN monitoring tool in place, we can observe all these parameters. We can observe which VPN user, which VPN session is generating most of the traffic, what URLs or what applications they are accessing. Is it related to business, and then restrict the access. So if we restrict the access to non-critical URLs, if we block the access, blacklist them, it will definitely be valuable for the bandwidth utilization so that the business critical applications get the bandwidth required, and unwanted website access, unwanted activities in the network can be stopped real time. Next, multi-level authentication. It is very much required nowadays to have a unbreakable password for the VPN connection and configure multi-level authentication with requires two-step verification for profiles, two-factor authentication. So these kind of measures will be more, it will reduce the risk of any kind of intrusion gaining access to the critical systems, and your data will be secured. So any kind of potential attack or security threat will be reduced. And this will definitely help the company to maintain a proper database which has their which has customer information crucial to the company, which should not be leaked, so that the company does not get fined. They do not have to pay a heavy toll for these kind of breaches. So for the same, password authentication is very much required to be in place, and layers or factors of password authentication will increase the security. Site-to-site VPN connections can also be a measure. So this will maintain, if we maintain one VPN tunnel, so if any VPN tunnel is on maintenance, we can use a secondary tunnel using site-to-site VPN connections. So this will ensure that high availability of the link, high availability of the VPN connection and the devices are there, so that due to downtime or due to maintenance, we do not have any network outage, which will in turn will help employees and external users to have a better experience and quality of service. Using zero trust tools is also one of the best practices, which will help us save a lot of bandwidth. It will tackle the VPN loads, directing non-critical apps to zero trust tools, so that again the bandwidth, which is most crucial for any network's performance, will not go in waste. The business critical applications will get what they require in terms of bandwidth, and websites or applications which are being used for entertainments or maybe social networking will get blocked. So before we go for the break, let us conclude what we have discussed so far. Basically, the challenges that we have been facing when we are working from home: security issues, bandwidth utilization issues, compliance related issues, all these things can be overcome. We can definitely avoid any kind of security breaches, bandwidth overutilization, paying extra amount of money for unwanted bandwidth utilization. If we have a tool, a software, which is monitoring the network, which is monitoring the bandwidth utilization and alerting us whenever there is a high utilization, alerting us whenever there is a attack or security threat found in the network, checking for the compliance with global standards like SOX, HIPAA, PCI. This will definitely help us in providing a platform for our upcoming network requirements. If these things are in place, we can definitely let many employees work from home without any kind of security breaches, without any kind of network issues, without downtime, and provide full quality of experience to all employees, to all users, which will definitely help us to uh, create a brand name and make sure that the business keeps running. So, gentlemen, we can go for a 10 minutes break. Post to that, my colleague Vijay will be joining this session, and he will be explaining a few more details, few more challenges we will discuss on. And if you have any questions, like I said, we have our panelists available. You can definitely post your questions. We will be glad to answer them.
Hey, hi, Surya. Thanks for your time. And hello, everyone. Let's have a 10 minutes break and then we shall resume with the remaining session. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Surya. Thanks for your time again. Hi, team. Please let us know in the chat message once you're back from the break so that we shall start with the remaining session. Thank you. Hi, team. We would resume the break in another 5 minutes. Please let us know in the chat box once you're back so that we can start the remaining session. Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Vijay Kant. I'm the Technical Account Manager for IT Operations Management. And I've been with Management for about 10 years, handling the whole ITOM solution suite. And I'll be handling the second part of this training session, the seminar here. So now to continue with, let's talk about the other challenge, which is maintaining a business continuity. In today's pandemic situation, maintaining a business continuity is going to be a major challenge, and providing an uninterrupted business service to our end user has become a major challenge here. So in order to provide this business continuity, we need to ensure that all the critical business applications that are available in our setup has to be monitored thoroughly 24/7. In case we don't monitor those critical business applications, that would really lead to a serious and critical downtime, which in turn is going to cause a major impact on the revenue part. So it is important that to maintain a business continuity, and that would really help us to run a business, successful business for a longer run. Now the question is that how do we maintain a smooth business continuity without sacrificing on performance? As we all know, in many occasions, we might be forced or we had to compromise with the application performance in order to have a smooth business continuity. So how do we maintain a smooth business community at the same time without sacrificing the performance? So let's see here. So in order to do that, we need to have a complete insight about the application performance, which is running in our setup. So it is always better to have a complete understanding about if there are any anomalies happen in the code, or if there is any issue with the application level or in the code level, or if there is going to be a network issues, or there could be some DB queries that are running at the backend. So we need to be sure that if we have any issues with any particular factor, and we may need to handle it accordingly. And with this synthetic transaction monitoring, we can deliver a seamless digital experience to our end user. Now we give you a few steps. How do we maintain application monitoring performance? So the first thing is that when you talk about application performance, application doesn't stand alone. It has major or many factors involved in it. Say, for example, it has the device or the application or the server under which the application has been installed, and of course to the database server to which the application has been connected to. Now, before we end up here, I would like to poll a question here. I'm going to launch polling here. So how are you managing your office work while taking care of your pets or kids and the kitchen? So let's wait for a few inputs here. Okay, I do see some polling happening here. Great. Let's wait for a few more seconds here. All right, I've got most of the questions here, and I'm happy that most of our users have been found with multitasking. Okay, so let's proceed with the session here. Thanks for your valuable feedbacks, team. So now let's talk about how do we maintain a business, the monitoring application performance here. So when we talk about applications, we should be in a position to make sure that we monitor the entire application's performance correctly here. And also, when you talk about database, we should also monitor the database size and the number of sessions that has been established, and of course, with the user's connection as well here. So it is always important that we need to capture the traces of any problematic transactions. If anything has happened up for any actions, we should be able to monitor that particular transactions and find a fix for it and provide a solution accordingly. And the next step would be end user experience, which is an ultimate goal which we all work for. This is our goal to have a successful business for a longer run. So how do we provide a good end user experience? Say for example, let's take some online transaction sites or any e-commerce sites wherein end user logs in and he adds few items to the cart, and then he's going to check out. and proceed with the payment options. So what happens when we face any issues during the processing of payments? I'm sure many of us would have faced same problem at least once. So when we fail to track those transaction failures, what is going to happen in that particular instance? That is going to cause a serious problem, and that is not going to give a good user experience from a end. So in order to have a good experience or to provide a good end user experience, we should make sure that all the critical web pages or any pages like payment pages or lead forms has to be monitored 24/7 so that we give a proper and a good user experience to the customer, which in turn would give us in the a good revenue part here. And the next step is that prioritizing both end users app as well as in-house app here. So we should be in a position to ensure that both in-house applications, which is running in your organization, should have a good availability and the uptime, and it should be as good as the end users applications. Because in this pandemic situation, employees who work from their home, they completely depends upon the in-house applications where they tend to connect to the office network through VPN, and they get an access to the in-house applications. So when they don't have any availability of those in-house applications, that is going to cause a serious productivity issue, which in turn would be resulting in creating a negative impact on the customer satisfaction. So we should be in a position to prioritize both end users application as well as the in-house application so that we give a proper customer satisfaction. And the next step is that to monitor apps that track employees' health. As we all know, we have been undergoing a pandemic situation. It is mandatory that each and every organization should have an app that helps to track their own employees' health. If they have any app which can keep track of their employees' health, that would really help them to keep a well record on the employees' information. So if I would like to share some instance which is happening in our office. So we have our own tool where we got to gain or we got to mention our health status on a daily basis. And this would really help our people management team to keep track of our employees' record in a daily basis here. So as such, when any organization has such apps to keep track of their employees' health, it would really help them to move on further. And the next topic is that to give a growth forecasting and a capacity planning. So the applications, whatever we use in our setup, it should be in a position to give us a complete insight on how soon the resource which we are going to use would get exhausted. Only then we can plan for an alternate resource accordingly. At the same time, the application which we use should also give a deep analysis about how the loads have been distributed among a different servers. So that would really help us to have a clear picture about how the loads have been distributed among a different devices that are located in our local setup here. So these are few steps which we would recommend to have a healthy environment in our organization. And now let's talk about the next challenge, which is handling a network vulnerability. So this is going to be a major or the vital task to handle the network vulnerabilities here. So as we have been working from home since a few months, there could be a lot of chances of getting vulnerabilities when we connect to our home network. So now you see that few of our companies have encouraged their employees to come back to office to work with certain persons. So while we returning to office, if there are any vulnerabilities that is being still available in your setup, and if it is not being fixed, and when you connect those devices to your office networks, there are chances where it could spread across that particular vulnerability could spread across your office network. And this is going to be a cakewalk for the hackers to steal your important data. So we should have a keen steps on how do we check if the devices are free from vulnerability. And recently we had a survey where we got these information where about 600% of increase in the cybercrime due to this pandemic situation, where 41% of companies have over 1,000 sensitive files that includes the credit card numbers and the health records which were left unprotected. And we also have 60% of security professionals estimate that their organization's security functions spend over 3 hours per day validating a false positives. So in fact instance, as an organization to have a successful business, we should ensure that we have a proper tool or the application that helps us to eradicate or to handle these vulnerabilities in a very short time. So that would really help us to have a good user experience, which in turn would help us to increase the revenue side as well. So now let's talk about how do you make sure your network is free from vulnerabilities. We are not sure how the home networks would be as safe as the office network. So how do you do that? We give you a few steps to check that. First thing, you can scan your networks to check if there are any vulnerabilities. So if you have any tool to check that particular vulnerability check, you can run a check on that to scan your network. And once you find if there are any vulnerabilities available in your setup, you can immediately fix that and then apply a suitable patches for it so that you can, if you have any tool to apply those patches across your different devices in your setup, you can apply those patches so that you have a bug-free devices in your setup. Now let's move on to a next challenge, which is bring your own device challenge here. So being, and working on the pandemic situation, some of our organizations have given a chance or, have acquired BYOD policies so that the employees can remote into their office networks to access the data that are available here. So in this case, how do we ensure that we provide or we have a proper network here? Because as we have been working from home for a few months, and as few companies have encouraged to connect or to use their own devices here, there could be few reasons for encouraging these BYOD policies. Could be due to a cost cutting, or it could also be to give a flexibility for the employees to use their own devices in the office network. So we also have a survey where 67% of employees use their own personal devices at work, and 59% of organizations adopt BYOD. And we also have a survey which says in 2020, there are 10 billion personal mobile device has been used due to this pandemic situation. So now, as we use BYOD, which is the bring your own device policy, comes into place, it also gives a lot of security challenges. We give you a few steps what has to be done here, because when you connect or when you use your own devices to access your office networks, you should always ensure that you're free from your vulnerabilities. So the first step is that you need to analyze the network behavior. You need to constantly analyzing your networking behavior to check if there are any suspicious sources or the destination that they are trying to connect to your networks, or if you get any unwanted requests from any blocked IPs or unwanted IPs, you can block those unwanted IPs so that you can stop those intruders connecting to your office network. The next step is that to monitor who can access what. You know, working in an organization, it is always risky to give a complete rights to an employee to access your complete office or the confidential information, because you wouldn't know what are the operations that can be performed by that particular personnel. So in that case, you need to provide, or you can create sort of rules and assign to those operators or different kinds of technicians, so that you can have a complete insight about who can access what. And next step is that to communicate security protocols to your employees. So when we are running an organization, we should always educate our end users or the employees to make sure they abide to the office setup or to the policies here, so that they keep their environment safe and clean. So you can share an information that to the employees not to open any unwanted emails or any spam mails that is being received. And you can also educate our employees not to use any public Wi-Fi when they try to access from a common place. Being working from home setup, we see many employees or many of our clients would be connecting to the VPN networks from public places like park or playground or some play areas, and where we tend to get a lot of public Wi-Fi access. So in those instances, it is always better not to connect to those public Wi-Fi when you're trying to access your office setups. Now let's get into the last challenge, which is network resource management here. So when we come back to office, after the pandemic situation, it is an important duty for the organization to run through or to have a formal check about the number of counts or the number of important components that are available in the office premises. It is always good to have a device count on the network devices that are running in a good condition, and so that you can plan your resources accordingly. In case you need a new devices to be replaced, you can replace the devices accordingly. So in order to do that, we suggest you a few steps here. One is that you can conduct network checks periodically, so that to ensure that all the devices are in a proper condition. Because after being a long time, probably 7 to 8 months, when we go back to office, we are not sure if all the devices would be as good as it was earlier. So we need to do a run check on the network devices to check its efficiency and the functionalities. And if anything needs to be changed, we can change them accordingly here. And the next step is that to monitor the hardware. Of course, you need to have a complete insight about the hardware devices that are placed in your office setup. So you need to run through, and in case you need to change any hardware that has to be replaced, or if you find any faulty hardware, please go ahead and replace them. At this point, I would like to share you a small tip, which I'm sure many of us would have experienced this particular issue during work from home duration. The thing is that where the charging a laptop, when you keep charging your laptop 24/7, I'm sure that is going to cause your battery for a task. Because when you keep charging your laptop the whole day, that is going to make your laptop battery to be bulged, and it has to be replaced immediately. So small tip is that once you're done with your office work, you can probably disconnect the charger, and then you can lock your laptop and close it, so that we give time for the laptop to cool. All right. And the next step is that to check for any expired license. It is always good to have the application with a valid license, in case once you're going back to office, if you find any product or any application that has got license expired, you can go ahead and renew the license, and you can apply that particular license file to the product. So in case you have any tool to run that particular license check, yes, you can very well run a license check on all the products, and then you can replace the license accordingly here. Now, before we move on to the next slide, I would like to poll another quick question here. So just to understand what are the information or what are the challenges which you face in your setup. So I'm just waiting for a few more polls here. Actually, I've got a few responses here. So let's wait for a few more response. Yep. All right. Thank you, team, for participating in that. I can see most of the users have been facing an issue with network connectivity or bandwidth or VPN here. Thank you. Thanks for your participation. So now that we have been discussing about the challenges in today's pandemic situation, it is my duty to give you a solution which would help you to handle these challenges here. So here comes the product called Manage Engine ITOM Solutions. So this is the solution suite which would help you to handle these challenges which we have been discussing so far in the coming period. So let's talk about each and every product that would help you to handle the situation. So first product is that the Op Manager. This is an all-in-one network monitoring solution suite that helps you to monitor your entire network health or performance or availability monitoring of your entire devices, whether it might be a networking device or switches or routers or firewall. Anything can be monitored through this particular device. And we also give you option to monitor a physical service or virtual service like VMs or vCenters. Let me take this opportunity to introduce you our product on the UI. So this is our demo site. In case you wish to test the functionalities, you may always log into demo.opmanager.com, and that would give us a demo site where you can test the functionalities that are available in the product. So this is the UI, which we give you the options where we have a simple discovery process by just giving an IP address or the host name, and with the credentials, you would be able to discover those devices here. And once the devices are discovered, you would be able to find those devices under the inventory page here. So this will tell you what are the devices that has been discovered so far and how the devices are being discovered here. Once you discover the device, you may click on that particular device, which will take you to the corresponding device snapshot page here, where you can find the availability and the packet loss and the response time of that particular device details. And which will also, in case you have any SNMP interface available in that particular device, it would also give you the interface related information. And if you have any active process running on that particular device, it would also give you the active process information. And along with that, by default, we give you the monitoring capacity where you can monitor the performance information of each and every device that you discover in Op Manager. And you can generate an alert if any device goes down, or if any threshold gets violated, or if anything goes wrong on that particular device. We give you that particular device. And this is our demo site here, which you can log in. And once you log in here, it would give you a complete insight about all the devices that has been discovered so far here. So let me show you few device snapshot page, which would give you some insight about how the product works here. So here, let me take you through one of the device switch page here. This is a switch which we have discovered in our setup, where you can find the whole device availability here. And in addition to that, if the switch has got any interfaces available, we also fetch those interface related information and we show it over here. And if you have any port views, we also display a sample port view, how the ports are being displayed over here. These informations would also be displayed here. And we have a dedicated alarm page, which can be displayed, which would display for all the alarms that has been available here. So this is the alarm page where you can see how the devices are being discovered. And in case any device goes down or anything happens on that particular device, we show you those alerts in the alarms tab here. So we display them based on the criticality. We segregate them in case any device goes down or any SNMP traps has been sent from main device. We generate those traps as an alarms. And if any threshold has been violated, we generate those threshold as alerts here. So these are some of the devices which we have in our local setup, and you can find them over here. And we also have an option where you can add or discover the virtualizations like a vCenter. So if anything, if you have any vCenters or Hyper-Vs or ESX or VMs, we give you an option to discover those ESX servers as well. And we have more than 500 different types of reports that can be generated based on your needs here. So this is about the Op Manager server, which we talk here. Now let's get into another product, which is called Application Manager. This is a dedicated tool, especially designed to monitor your entire database and the application and the web service that are available in your setup from a single UI. This would really help the developers to analyze the application code level issue, and it would really help your team to find if there are any memory leaks or any CPU spikes on that particular application. And obviously, it would also help you to monitor cloud components or web services or containers or infrastructure monitoring. And of course, we also monitor a synthetic application transaction. So here, using the synthetic application monitoring, we help you, or this particular tool helps you to eradicate the issue where it is exactly happening. Say, for example, let's take the same online transaction. A user logs into the online website and he checks in few items and then he checks out. And during the payment processing method, he's getting error 404 and it comes out. So this is going to cause a serious problem to the end user as well as to the company. So this particular tool would help you to analyze where exactly the actual problem occurs or at which particular page are we getting an error message. And this would really help us or help the developer to know what has happened. And in fact, if there is any issue occurred on that particular site, as a developer, you would know that particular issue before the end user realizes that, so that you get a lot of time to fix that, and then you obviously reduce the downtime, which in turn would increase the customer satisfaction. Now let me show you the web UI for this particular application manager. So this is demo.appmanager.com. This is our application manager demo site here. So here we have a lot of database monitoring that are available as we had discussed. You can also do web service monitoring or server monitoring or mail service monitoring and cloud apps. So let me walk you through a few database monitoring setups here. So this would give you the availability of that particular database which you are using. And it would also give you the performance of that particular database which you're trying to monitor. So this would give you the user connection or total memory and the health information or the health history of that particular database. And we also give you an option where you can check the transactions information of each application. It would give you the average response time or the throughput or the errors rate and the fatal count with the AppDex score. So when you click on that particular transactions or the applications, it would give you the transaction details of each and every transaction name with an count and the error rate, as well as the average response time and the CPU time. It would also give you an option with traces. What is the exact traces or the transaction exceptions which you are getting out, and what are the time taken for that particular transaction to be happened up. It would also give you an exception. What has happened? What is the transaction error message which you get? So based on this transaction, you would be able to analyze and identify the root cause of that particular issue, and you can fix that particular issue as soon as possible. All right. And again, we also have the same unique alarm page where if anything goes wrong on the end device or the database monitoring or any web services, the alarms would help you to check what is the status of that particular device. And we also give you many different kinds of reports, whether it might be an application server reports or database servers or web service, any kind of reports that can be generated, and it can be seen in this particular tool. Now, moving on to next tool, which is called a NetFlow Analyzer. So this is a comprehensive multi-vendor tool that is specifically designed to monitor your traffic, network traffic, and the bandwidth monitoring. This would really help you to have an insight about real-time graphs and the reports that are happening onto your networking devices. And it really helps you to give an in-depth details about the network traffic and the bandwidth happening in your networks. And it also helps you to drill down the interface details and would help you to identify what are the non-standard applications that has been hogging your network bandwidth. So based on that, you can monitor and manage the traffic accordingly. In addition to that, it also helps you to do a wipe monitoring. Let me take you through a demo site here. So this is a demo site where you can find the NetFlow related information, where you can find a complete traffic about each and every devices here. So here, when you log into it, you can find the flow counts and the interface count available in that particular device. So when you click on any particular device, it will take you through a pictorial traffic graphs information where you can find the graphical view of the traffic details. And it would give you the average speed and the volume of each and every traffic that has been available here. And followed by, it also gives you the interface related information in a graphical format. And we can also find the speed, volume, and the utilization in a graphical format here. In addition to that, it can also give you the application, what are the application that consumes a lot of bandwidth in your network. So it gives you a detailed information on that. And followed by, it can also give you the source and the destination which has been configuring or which has been consuming a lot of traffic with a percentage symbol. So it would give you those information in detail here. And we also have a WLC, wireless LAN controller, where you can get the information about the available access points and the flow counts available on that particular device. So we give you a complete traffic information of that WLC, followed by a client's information, like what are the IPs and the MAC address available for that particular client. Followed by, we also give you the SSID information about what is the name of that particular SSID and what are the traffic and the percentage of that particular traffic which is being consumed. And if you wish, you can also view a graph of that particular SSID. Similarly, we also give you an access point information. You know, what is the name of the access point and what are the traffic that has been consumed and the percentage of that particular traffic. So this is a tool would mainly designed to monitor your entire traffics and the network bandwidth availability here. Now moving on to the next slide, which is the product called Network Configuration Manager. This is a tool. Again, this is a multi-vendor tool that would help you to monitor any network changes or any configuration changes happened onto your network. It would also help you to manage your complaints management. It is actually a simple tool that would help you to automate your configuration backups. And also it would help you to have a detailed view about your networking devices and its configuration. In addition to that, it would also give you a detailed information about firmware vulnerabilities. Let me walk you through here. We have a demo site for a network configuration manager. So here, once the devices has been discovered, you would be able to find all these devices listed up here. And when you click on that particular device, it would take you to the device summary page where you can find what is the actual backup status. Under backup summary, you would be able to find what is the actual backup status, if there are any backups that has been done, or if there are any issues with the backup or any failures has been happened up. Those information can be carried out here. And regarding your configuration details, you might have thousands and thousands of lines in the configuration. It would really hard for you to find what are the actual changes happened on that particular lines. So if there are any changes happened on that particular single line, and you can schedule them to get a backup. For instance, if any of your user logs in to the corresponding router, and if they make any changes on the configuration level, and you want to know what changes has been done on that particular configuration files on the router, yes, you can do that using this particular tool, which is Network Configuration Manager. So here under configuration details, you would be able to find what are the configuration changes that has been done here. And when you click on that particular device, it would show you what are the changes that has been modified and what are the changes that has been added up. Those informations would be seen here. So let me show you for a few samples here. So when you click on any device, that would take you to the device snapshot page here, and where you can find the complete configuration details of that particular device. So let me show you for a few examples here. I'm going to take you through this particular device where you can find config details. And here you can click on any the latest backup that has been captured here. And that would show you if there are any changes that has been modified or any changes that has been done. Those informations can be captured here. So we differentiate them with the different colors. What are the lines that has been changed or anything has been deleted? Those informations can be differentiated, and we can show you those changed management related information of that particular device here. And regarding a firmware vulnerability, like as I said, this would also give you a complete insight about the firmware vulnerabilities, along with CVE ID and what is the base score and what is the severity of that particular vulnerability, whether it is going to be important or critical or low or moderate, and how many devices that has been affected by that particular vulnerability. We show you those information as well here. And when we talk about complaints, this particular tool also helps you to manage the complaints policy management here. We have many default policies, Cisco IWS policy or HIPAA or SOX, any policies that can be managed here. And if you wish, you can also add a new policies on your own. Now, it would mainly help you to check if the devices are being under complaints or not. Say, for example, let's take a Cisco IWS policy. Recently, we have a default Cisco IWS policy that none of the networking devices or the Cisco device should have the default community string as public. They should have a different name in order to have maintain a security. So in this case, you can do, say for example, you have 50 to 60 networking devices, Cisco devices in your setup, and you wanted to know how many devices are under complaints or under non-complaints, which means how many devices are using public as a community string and how many are not. So in that case, once the devices are added in this NetFlow, in this network configuration manager, you can run this particular complaints check, and this would give you a complete details about what are the devices that falls under complaints and what are the devices that are non-complaints devices. So based on this particular report, you can generate or you can take actions accordingly here. And the next feature is that a change management. Like as we said, any changes that has happened on the end devices, you would get notified to it. And as an admin, you have an authorization or you have an authority to give or sanction that particular request or not. Say, for example, if any users have logged into that particular end device, end router device, and made some configuration changes, and you wanted to know if it can be sanctioned or if it can be authorized. So if you wish, you can approve them or you can reject them accordingly. Okay, once you approve those requests, those things would be falling under the approved request. And if you wish something has to be changed or it has to be rejected, you can reject them. Those changes would be falling under rejected request here. So this is again a simple tool that would really help you to have an eye or the deep analysis on change management or configuration change or any network changes happened up here. Now moving on to next tool, which is called a firewall analyzer. When you talk about firewall, just having a firewall alone doesn't secure your network. You need to ensure you have a complete commanding firewall tool in order to make your network to be safe and secure. So this is one such tool that would really help you to monitor your complete firewall changes or any policy analysis or with respect of any rules or policies. This would really help you to maintain a complaint standards. And also it would really help us to give a complete insight about the user's internet usage and the VPN monitoring as well. For example, as an organization, you might have restricted to certain websites like Facebook or YouTube, and you wanted to know what are the who are the users who are tried to access that YouTube or Facebook. Yes, this particular tool would help you to check the number of hits that has been done by the user to access that particular certain websites. So you can take necessary actions accordingly here. So let me take you through the website here. So this is the demo site, demo.fwanalyzer.com. So whenever you find time, please log into this site, and this would give you a complete insight about the firewall analyzer product. So this is the unified dashboard where we can find a complete widgets. And once you log into the device, it would give you a complete detailed information about that particular device, along with the reports and the information available in that particular device. So like as I said, we can generate a different kinds of reports, like it would give you top host that has been sent and how many hosts that has been trying to hit a particular site and what are the sites that has been used and top protocol groups, top users. These informations can be fetched over here. And web usage, it would also give you a detailed information about web usage report as well. And if you wish to have any VPN related information, yes, VPN related information can also be fetched over here. And if you wish to find any traffic trends or top allowed URLs, top denied URLs, so and how many hits that has been happened up, this is where you can come and find if there are any hits that has been happened up on any denied URLs. So you can find these information up here. And rule management, this also helps you to find or to manage the rules that are available on your firewall setup. So it would give you a complete description about the total number of rules and what are the allowed rules and the denied rules that are available. So this would give you a complete hands-on experience to handle your own rules that has been configured or that has been structured onto your based on your network environment. Now let's talk about the next tool, which is called oputils. This is mainly designed to monitor your IPv4s and IPv6 addresses. This tool is a reliever tool for the admins or the network admins who have been using spreadsheets to maintain their IPs and the MAC addresses running in their setup. So this would really give us a complete information about the entire IPv4s and v6 information, and it would scan for those IP address details, and it would give you a periodic update about the current status. And we also have a feature called switch port mapper. This is mainly to help you find the status of each and every ports that are available on a switches. For instance, you have 10 ports available in particular switch, and 5 ports have been occupied and 5 ports have been free. So the only way is that you need to log into that particular, you may either go to that particular device manually and check the availability, or you may need to connect to that device to check out. Whereas here, we give you an option to check how the ports have been connected and the occupancy of that particular ports. Let me take you to that particular site here. So this is how the UI would look like for oputils. Now here, when you go to switch port mapper, and when you click on any particular device, it would give you the complete switch port information details. First, it would give you what are the available ports and what are the status. In case it has been connected with any MAC address, it would also give you the MAC address details here. And under port view, this is where we give you a pictorial representation of how the ports are being connected here. So this would really give you a complete detailed inputs about what are the ports that are free and what are the ports that have been occupied. So based on this, you can manage and maintain your networking devices accordingly here. And we also have a feature called rogue detection. So this particular feature helps you to eradicate the unwanted IPs or the intruders who are trying to connect your authorized networks or office networks. So this tool would help you to monitor, or this would list out the MAC address that are trying to connect your networking setup, and you can manage those rogue detected devices accordingly. If you realize that this particular device has to be stopped or blocked, you can just make them as a block that particular MAC address, or if you find that it is going to be a trusted site, you can make it as mark as trusted. So through this particular feature, you can restrict the unwanted IPs request or the intruders trying to connect to your networks here. All right, now we have seen different products available in Manage Engine, and now comes a real Avenger, which is the Op Manager Plus. This is an all-in-one tool where a customer can perform, a client can perform any kind of activities with respect to of their networking devices in one particular UI. If never mind if they wanted to monitor a networking performance related activities or bandwidth related information or network change management or anything related to firewall or IP information or application monitoring, everything can be done in one particular UI, which is called Op Manager Plus. It is a combination of all entire devices here. So here, if you want to monitor any networking devices, you can find them in the same UI. And in case you wish to check any flow analysis, which is nothing but the net flow analyzer, so you can check it under flow analysis. And if you want to find any configuration change management related information, you can check it over here. And if anything related to firewall log analysis or anything related to firewall related information, that can be retrieved here. And IP management would give you the orbitals, which is IP and the SPAM related information. And of course, we also have the VoIP and the IPSLA monitoring available here. And we also have the apps tab in case you wanted to use the application related information, application monitoring or the database monitoring, it can be done over here. All right. So with this, we have covered all the ITOM managed engine related products here. Now we would see what are the other features that are available in managed engine products. So now let's talk about the integration. So Op Manager can be integrated with these different products. One is that the Manage Engine Service Desk Plus, which is a ticketing tool. And the other one is Manage Engine Analytics Plus, which is again a Manage Engine product. And another one is Manage Engine Alarms One. We also have exclusive integration with Slack and ServiceNow. Slack is nothing but a chat correlating tool, which is again a third-party tool, which we provide our extended support for integrating Op Manager with Slack. And ServiceNow is again a ticketing tool like a Service Desk Plus. So Op Manager can be integrated with ServiceNow as well. So if you have any further need any further assistance or any further queries, please you can send us a mail to eval-itom@manageengine.com. And if you're really, if you'd like to get a personalized demo, please log into www.manageengine.com/itom-demo.html, and here you can request a demo so that we can schedule a demo for you and proceed on that. And if you'd like to get a price code on our product, please log into www.manageengine.com/itom-getcode.html. So with this, we come to an end of this particular session. In case you have any queries or any questions, please let us know so that we can answer that accordingly here. And let me check if you have got a few queries here. Okay, we have got a few queries. Let me try to answer that particular queries here. So the first question is that I work for a company that has over 200 employees. My lead wants me to do a detailed analysis on the changes made to a network devices on a particular date. Will that be possible? Yes, of course, this is possible using a network configuration manager, which we have been discussing a while ago. So let me walk you through that. So you can go to the corresponding device from NCM, and under config details page, you would be able to find if there are any changes happened on that particular date. So if you wish to view the changes happen on that, you would be able to check what changes has been done. If there are any changes that has been added up or modified or anything has been deleted on that particular configuration, you would be able to do that. So to answer this particular question, yes, it is possible here. Now moving on to next one, you said NetFlow Analyzer uses flow technologies like SFlow, JFlow, etc. But what if the device doesn't support flow technologies? Yes, that's a good question, but not a problem. We do have an answer for that as well, a proper solution. We have a feature called NetFlow Generator that can be installed on any servers. So this particular NetFlow Generator would listen to those mirrored packets and would convert those mirrored packets as V5 flows, and it would then send it to the NetFlow Analyzer server where it is running. So yes, it can be done using this particular NetFlow Generator. Thank you. And the next question is that I'm a network admin and there are certain things I'm required to do to my network regularly. Suppose I'm out of office, it might be difficult for me to work on my network. Is there any way to automate certain network monitoring tasks. Yes, very well, you can automate tasks in Op Manager. So let me introduce you about the feature called workflow. So this is a feature that would help you to perform any repetitive task that you wish to perform in your setup. Say, for example, if you wish to move or delete a file from one particular location, or you want to move a file from one particular location to the other one, yes, you would be able to do them. And if you want to move a file or delete a file or get folder size, yes, that can be done on a regular interval. And if you wish to reboot a server from this particular UI, yes, it can be done. So we have more than 90 automated tasks that can be performed using this particular workflow for your automating tasks. That would really help you to minimize your manual activities. So because of social distancing, we might have to be seated in different floors and cannot utilize the switches like pre-pandemic days. We might have to clearly audit the number of IPs associated to a particular switch in each floor. How can this be done? Yep, this can also be done using oputils, which is a switch port mapper. So this would give you the information about what are the devices that has been connected and what are the ports that has been free from the device here. So you can log into that particular device and you can log into utils page website, and then you can click on that particular corresponding device. It would show you what are the ports that has been used and what are the ports that has been available. Based on the ports, you can take an action accordingly here. Like as we said, it would give you the port related information. What are the ports that are available? So based on the availability, you can take a required action. Okay, and the final one, does your tool support all vendors in the market? How can I monitor a newly released device models? Yep, that is again one of the other frequently asked question here, and this is a good question too. So yes, technically we can discover any kind of devices in Op Manager, as we have more than 9,500 plus device templates that are available in our networks, in our setup. You know, this particular tool would offer more than 9,500 device templates that can be added up. In case you wanted to have, or in case you wanted to add a new device template that is available in the new market, yes, you have an option where you can create a new device template for that particular device for which you wish to add. And then you can get the MIP file and the OID. Based on that, you can add the new device template, and then you can start monitoring those devices into Op Manager server. And I'm glad to share the information that Manage Engine has been trusted by 42,000 customers around the world and around 1 million IT admins. And some of the awards and recognitions that has been given to our Manage Engine. And these are some of our valuable customers who have been using Manage Engine product till date. So with this, we come to a conclusion here. In case you have any queries, I would be glad to assist you on that. Okay, I really appreciate team for joining us with this particular seminar session and being till the end. I really appreciate your time and patience here. If you have any queries, please drop us a mail. We would be glad to assist you at any time. And finally, stay safe, take care, and bye for now. Thank you again. Thanks one and all. Bye-bye.